There is a passage of written scripture, as it is called in the English Bible, that talks about calming a storm. It is written in the 8th chapter of the book of Matthew, verses 23 through 27. It says, "And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, for we perish. And he said unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? Calming a storm. What manner of man is this? Let's go with mannerism. Mannerism. It seemed to be a lost art, if I may use that, in the society in which we live. It seems as though that there's a lack of respect, courtesy, and some dishonesty. I know that each generation have to define his or her reality or what difference they will make in the world. I know in these days and time we have the technology wherein the folks gravitate to that technology, and it sometimes gets the best of us. There are many things that you can see that can pull you in a direction that you may not want to go. And there arises a storm. You know, there are people companies that manufacture what they call storm windows, you know. And in the storm windows, does its best to keep the wind, the element of the wind out from entering into the home, which may arise a high electric bill or heating bill. seem as though that panic could be on the rise. And when panic is on the rise, people will go to at lengths into extreme measures. Try to make a reputation for themselves. They panic because they may not be getting the attention that they need. They panic to rush into something. We seem to want immediate gratification and instant change. We have this microwave mentality, if I may use it. Tend to vacillate up and down. We want external therapy without internal clarity. Well, this passage of text, if I can look at it the best way that I can, is talking about when Jesus himself and when he was on a ship, as it is called. Now, some will call it a boat, and maybe, I don't know, he was on the Sea of Galilee. No. Some of you scholars, biblical scholars, may know more than me. But what I do know that a storm that may come about or is coming about, that you must remain calm. You must remain calm. The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary talks about Galilee, a rolling or a turning point, a ring, a circle, a band, a circle or a circuit, a rolling of energy. Talking about a momentum shift. A momentum shift. Could be talking about the energy of life. And it's the activity of one's life. You know, the activity of one's limbs, the activity of one's faculties is something that we should be grateful for, that we still have the use of our faculties and the activities of limbs, a power, a force, or an energy in conjunction with substance. Sounds like we should be grateful. Grateful. We want to pick up the momentum and increase our activity and doing our best to be the best witness that we can. When we increase our activity of being the best witness that we can, that it ensures that when a storm comes, that we can remain calm because we are true to what we say we are, who we say we are, and what we say we're going to do. Be true. Be true. The passage of scripture says, as I read, and when he was entered into this, or let's say, into a ship, he had the life and the activity and the momentum to continue to set the example for his disciples to follow. And that was an example of gratitude. You know, before that, Jesus was healing many, as it says. Just using that language because I'm trying to make a point. I don't get caught up in if someone existed or he or she didn't exist. But what I do know that we can pull and learn from anything. And we can pull and learn from the scripture. What is given that we may have hope. Yes. Because when inspiration comes down, one's aspiration goes up. And you know, before that, or after that, Jesus had saw the great multitudes about him, and he commanded to depart unto the other side, leading up to the calming of a storm. You see, he was being prepared, because you cannot let everybody bombard you, because people come and they want to get around you, because some people may think you're just an entertainer, that think you're just there to entertain them, and think you're just there to please them. Now, but when you are called and to do what we call the term God or a higher power is called for you to do, you don't live life to impress, you live life to express, and you don't live life for a pause, but you live life for a cause. And it says a certain man, because he had to get on over to the other side, because there is much work to be done. Yes. Certain scribes said unto him, Master, I will follow you wheresoever thou goest. And Jesus said to him, Foxes have holes, and birds, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man have not a place to lay his head. Now some would say that he did have a place to lay his head. You find that in the scripture if you look to choose when he was relaxing. And another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. And Jesus said unto him, Let the dead bury the dead. What does that mean? I don't know, really. If you're dead, you bury the dead. Does the spiritually dead bury the physical dead? Well, also a question of priority, you see. Question of priority. Because you want to pick up the momentum. In other words, now is not the time to go back. Because once the momentum is picking up, you don't want to lose that momentum. And you know, that's how it is. And when you're moving forward in life, you cannot let anyone discourage you. Because you got to keep on moving. You got to keep on pushing. So it sounds like Jesus is making folks aware in this passage of text to not only to have gratitude, not only to prioritize, but to continue to have the momentum that you need, because when a storm is coming, Walter Payton, the running back for the Chicago Bears, said that he wanted to get to a spot before the defender get there, because the impact would be stronger on that defender than it would be on himself. That's how you got to understand when you have the gratitude and you prioritize and you build the momentum. Because a storm is coming, but you have to be equipped and prepared to get there before it gets there. You get there before it gets there and lessen the impact. And when he entered into a ship, his disciples, they followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest. Tempest, a storm, or a tempest could be a temperature, or a temperature could be a temperament, and a temperament could be a attitude. Who knows that some people who are resisting to change, to move forward, they develop a sense of reluctancy, and they develop a not so good attitude. And the sea, in so much that the ship was covered. He was in the ship. But if the storm represents attitude, the attitude was covering the ship that he was in. With the waves is communicating a certain attitude. The attitude could have been an ungrateful attitude, a doubtful attitude, an uninspired attitude, a disencouraging attitude. The waves represent something that was being communicated. But it says, but he was what? Asleep. He was asleep. There was a teaching that says, and the teachings of Ma'at and ancient Kemet, a person who knows not and knows that they know is asleep, awakened now. So maybe the symbolism of that was saying that they did not know, and that they need to be what? Awakened, because they were asleep. Maybe they need to be awakened, these disciples, or the manner in which people communicate one another. And maybe communicate in a very hostile manner, an ungrateful manner, a discouraging manner. That they need to be awakened. And his disciples came to him. And he awoke. Specifically, him saying, Lord, save us, we perish. Save us from the fear of doubt, the fear of frustration, the fear of anxiety, the fear of not knowing how this is going to turn out. But, I decided to follow your example. I decided to be exemplary act. I decided I wanted to go all the way with it. But yet I'm troubled. I'm troubled in my feelings. I'm troubled in my thoughts. I'm troubled in my attitude. I'm troubled in the language in which I speak. And I'm troubled because I am allowing the external things to trigger me. I'm allowing my inner fears to get the best of me. Save us. And he said unto them, why, ye of fearful, oh ye of little faith. Then he arose and rebuked the winds. He rebuking the tempest of the storm, the temperament, the ungrateful, the uncertainty, the lack of clarity. In the sea, because the winds were the lack of clarity, could be considered a sign of uncertainty, of doubt, and ungrateful, not knowing how to prioritize. And as being an example, people were catching wind of that. In the sea, and there was a great calm. The message and the attitude that the disciples were communicating was not a good message, was not a good sign. It was taken away from the increased activity of life, the increased use, the best way to use your faculties, and to be grateful for your faculties, and to be grateful for your limbs. And there was a great calm. Calm your nerves. Calm your thoughts. Racing thoughts. Anxiety. Calm down. Relax. Be cool. Don't let the situation overwhelm you. Look at the example here. You say you want to follow this example. You don't want to go back to a dead mentality. You want to be spiritually alive, that you cultivate the spiritual activity of life that is in you. Be the example that you can cultivate the spiritual activity of the life in others and increase that and keep up that momentum, keep up that drive, keep up that determination. But the men marveled as if they were in a dispute, saying, what manner of man is this? The mannerism, the manner way in which he went about doing things. His example that he is setting, the exemplary act. As if there is something that they have never seen or experienced before. That even the winds and the sea obey him. In control of external forces, of external triggers. Nature itself obey him. Obedience to what people call a higher power, meaning that we rise above the environment in which we live. That we take on the responsibility of being accountable and allowing our activities and behavior to measure up what we say, what we do, and how we live our lives can be challenging indeed. And once we increase the activity of life in us and cultivate that spiritual truth, that we can be the best we can be, others may marvel at that. They will wonder, they will admire, they will listen. And they will yield. I ain't talking about your temperament, your attitude, about yourself, about others, about your circumstances, about your situation, about life. You know, when you look at the traffic light, you got the red, the green, and the yellow. The yellow is slow down, yield, proceed with caution. There is a Islamic teaching that says out of difficulty comes ease, because when all hell is breaking loose in the middle of the storm, you have the calm. That even to balance out the winds, that which is being spread, could be misinformation, misrepresentation, and in conjunction with the sea, the ocean represents a sense of sensitivity. The nature of it all obeys him. We all have the same capacity, potential, and determination. Keep up the momentum. Increase the activity of your life. Cultivate your life spiritually. Don't go back to a mental dead state. do your best to help those that may be mentally dead. But even though something may be buried, it just may be asleep. Person may not know, and know not what they know, may not know what you know, and may not know what he knows. May not know what to do with what he has at his or her disposal. But Jesus in this passage made it clear that when all hell breaks loose in your life, that you have the power, and that I have the power to save to the storm, to the chaos, to the confusion, to all the corruption, all the turmoil that may be happening in our lives. Peace, be still. May we have that type of mannerism until next time. Talk to you.